Really, nobody likes you when you're 23. Howdy Hole, and welcome back to Hole Chat, a boy love and girl love podcast whose hosts listened to too much Blink-182 as teens. I'm your host, Chuck, and with me is the Sally to my Jack, Keelz.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice.
Nobody likes you when you're 23.
Were they the one who did the Jack and Sally song? You can play like Jack and Sally. Was that them?
Don't waste your time.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the range that they have is like running naked through a downtown and then saying that we can be like Jack and Sally.
Mm-hmm.
The whole gamut of Blink-182 songs are that, basically. And whatever the fuck they're doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
The comic that I want to talk about today very much encapsulates What's My Age Again. It is truthfully that song.
What's my age again? What's my age again?
Kind of condensed down because there's so much happening to these poor dudes.
Isn't there like a part in that song where they're like, he prank calls someone and they're like, aren't you fucking too old for this?
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah. Because all I remember is they're like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
That's what this feels like, is that like you're not quite an adult, but you're adult enough to have responsibilities, so you're just kind of messy. That is absolutely what I want to talk about today. So the comic I wanted to talk about is called Hate Mate. When I originally read it, it was How to Hate Mate, so if you've seen it before under that title, that's also the same comic. Hate Mate is a 2016 boy love manhwa by Reck. It was completed sometime after that. I read it and loved it, and really wish I could read something else like it. And then, by some miracle, Reck was given the green light to create a season 2 with the help of another skilled fixture of the manhwa circuit, Youngha, as the writer. So I have now actually read the entire thing. I still love it. I really liked the new ending that they wrote for it, and I wanted to chat about it.
Huh. Hate Mate, what a title.
It makes sense.
I mean, if it has anything to do with that song we keep referencing, then yes, it's insane.
Mm-hmm. It really works. I was just really surprised they had such a long break between season 1 and season 2.
Mm-hmm.
So the author's like style changes at some point because of that. It was just weird, but I'm glad there's more to it. But let's get into her. The comic opens up in a studio apartment with 3 drunk young men. One is passed out on the bed, and the other 2 are leaning against each other and watching a movie. Our main character, Bang Subin, calls out to his friend, Hyeonwoo, incessantly, despite being glued to his side. Subin's face flushes, and not from the alcohol, as he drops his head to his friend's shoulder and says, resolutely, I like you so much.
Mm-hmm. Drunk love confession.
Yeah, me too. Except very obviously not in the way that Subin meant, since Hyeonwoo's eyes don't leave the screen. But it took a fuck ton of courage and alcohol for Subin to confess like that, so he can't just leave things like this. He has to do something drastic. Which, that's what you think when you're 20. You shouldn't, but at that moment it's a good idea.
No, I already can feel that this is a terrible idea.
So,
hey.
Yeah.
Can I guess what this is about now, or do you want me to listen?
Yes, and if I hate it, I'll take it out.
Okay. Let me guess. He's gonna confess to someone who does not like him back and makes a series of mistakes because of it.
That's the shorthand of this, yes. It goes further into it in a way that I think is really interesting, though. Mm-hmm. So, yes, that is the basic premise, and then we go on a journey.
And I'm not knocking it, but whenever I hear coming-of-age stories, especially for the gays, I'm like, you confessed to the wrong person. Because, like, that feels like that happens in real life and fantasy life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You confessed to the wrong person, and
Absolutely.
It was just like, fuck, this was the wrong person to go to.
In a weirder way than you'll expect.
Yeah, okay.
So, yes. So you got the basic part. We're going to keep pushing forward.
Yeah. I like these type of stories. I've actually... These were ones I really enjoyed back when I was really reading boy love, where someone like, and in like straight romance and in the few Yuris, though I have not really seen this handled in a Yuri except for once, but I really like the whole, like, you confess to someone and, like, either that person's just not right for you or they're not into you or you're gonna grow from loving that person
Mm-hmm.
into someone else. I really like those types.
Yeah, I think you'll like this too, partially for that reason, partially for some other stuff that gets tackled.
Mm-hmm.
So, Subin, being dumb and, 20 years old at this point, takes a gamble and rushes forward, lips first, to place a kiss on Hyeonwoo's neck.
No, bro.
Finally, Hyeonwoo's looking at him, and the world seems to stop, as the object of his affections questions his sanity and calls his actions disgusting.
Oh, no. I didn't think it would be that.
These are the last words that Subin hears from his best friend and long-term crush for 2 whole years.
Oh, no. Oh, that's worse. Like, this is part of it in these plots I like where someone can react this way.
Mm-hmm.
I just hate it. Because even if this guy, like, didn't mean disgusting, like, as in, yo, what? Like, even if it was just, like, it came out of his mouth because they were, like, drunk, like, it's unfortunate. Because it's so harsh to hear as, like, any queer person.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just like, oh, no. Yeah, again, I've read stories where that's what happens, and you're like, fuck, how will you recover from this? So it's always just, it sucks to hear.
This is what I was trying to warn you about when I said that this one's cringy, but not in the like, oh god, don't do that, but in the, oh no, baby.
I don't consider this cringe. This is just like, cringe is when you do something embarrassing. Like, he did something drunk, but this isn't, confessing is never embarrassing.
Mm-hmm.
You can make it embarrassing, but, like, a drunken confession and a little kiss to the neck, nah. Like, embarrassing would be, like, you fall to your hands and knees and, like, declare your love and maybe break out into song. That's too much. Think Melvin from Sailor Moon dubbed.
Subin's gonna get a little bit embarrassing like that. He pulls it back, but he's gonna get to that point a little bit too.
Woof. Like, but right now this isn't embarrassing. Like,
yeah.
This is just a little sad.
There's a lot of, oh no, baby, what is you doing in this one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
So, 2 years later, Bang Subin is having kind of a shit day. He's not really feeling his job or his life at the moment. And firstly, he woke up feeling less than stellar. He knows Hyeonwoo is getting discharged from the military today, but they haven't spoken a word to each other, even when he came back on leave.
Ah, so he went to the army, but maybe that's not why he stayed quiet. Maybe he's also like, I don't want to talk to you anymore.
Mm-hmm. Secondly, he made plans with the guy on a gay hookup app in the hopes of getting shit-faced and losing his V-card in one fell swoop.
And you're still a virgin. Please don't be waiting for this loser.
Which he managed to fuck up by getting drunk to the point of melancholy and trying to financially compensate his date for their time together. So he meets with him. They're on a date. He screws it up, gets all upset all over himself, is, being melancholy about, his best friend coming back and whatever. To the date's credit, he's just like, haha, okay. And, like, you don't see the date's whole face. You just see him from, like, nose down. But he seems to be having an okay time. Watches, like, Subin get drunk. And it's just kind of like, okay, whatever. And so he then is like, well, I gotta go. Starts pulling change out of his pockets to try and pay for stuff.
Good luck.
Doesn't work out. Thankfully, his date pays to send him home safely so he could at least avoid embarrassing himself on the street. Because he is, like, almost blackout drunk.
Yeah. Honestly, like, I still don't think even this is embarrassing. Because, like, it's still got a drunk bit of tragedy to it. That it's, like, it's just tragic enough that it's like, dude, it's okay.
Yeah.
Like, I'm still not embarrassed. What's embarrassing? When you act like this sober.
That's true. Yeah, you're right.
That's when I'm embarrassed.
I will say it's important to note that he asked the date, hey, have you ever fallen in love with a straight guy before? And his date says, no, I don't play games I can't win.
Good point.
This is important for later, too, because his date comes back later, and what he said comes back later as well.
Yeah, we kind of had a talk about this last week, even when it was about confessing. So it's funny to see it back again. Did you do that on purpose?
I didn't do it on purpose, but then I saw the parallels and was like, hell yeah, dude, we're doing it.
Okay.
So once back at his apartment, he tumbles into bed to fall into a drunken slumber. While Subin sleeps, 2 mysterious figures appear in the entryway of his apartment, one very clearly holding a gun. The figure makes their way further into his room before the future assailant cocks the gun and takes aim at Subin's prone form. The figure lets out a battle cry and fires, sending pellets raining down on Subin's underwear-clad body. Of course, Subin is jolted awake, his alcohol-addled mind only knowing pain and big sleepy. The figure, very clearly not a criminal or an assailant, but one of Subin's friends, demands that he gets up. Why? His roommate's back. Hyeonwoo has finally returned, and now the third piece of this no-good, horrible day has fallen into place.
Woof.
And yeah, it's obviously not a real gun. It's like a little pellet gun. It's a toy gun,
well,
but
yeah,
but still.
Like, this is Korea. There's not a gun there.
But I mean, they have more guns than Japan does.
Mm.
But even still, like...
Even still, I'm just like, I have my doubts. Like, if you said this was an American comet, I'd be more scared.
Yeah, like, they're gonna threaten her. But I'm also just like, you douchey little 23-year-olds coming in to wake up your friend like that.
Yeah.
Subin is so shocked and surprised from the whole situation that he reflexively swallows the vomit that was rising in his throat.
Was he really about to puke and then he swallowed it?
Yeah, because they shocked him awake. And think about being really drunk, because you've only been, like, super bad drunk a couple of times.
Yeah.
Think about being really drunk and then somebody, like, would jolt you. How fast your body would do a flip.
Yeah.
And then also, I'm thinking about our dear friend who got spun around in the middle of being really drunk. And that went very wrong. So it's that. He really did get close to vomiting.
Yeah.
And then,
No, like, I don't think I've ever vomited from... I've only vomited once from being super drunk. But yeah, no, that sucks. I can imagine, but like,
Yeah.
Oof.
And his friend even called him out, like, did you swallow your vomit? That's gross. And it's like, you woke him up, dog.
Yeah.
Like, whatever.
It's too bad he couldn't have projectiled onto him.
Yeah. It's like, you woke him up and he was asleep, like, dead asleep at like 6 p.m. and you woke him up. You know he's shit-faced. But boys will be boys, I guess, in this case. Being Korean dudes in their 20s, there's only one way they can celebrate something as prestigious as finishing military service. Gratuitous alcohol consumption.
But he's
in
still
public.
drunk. He's still drunk.
Oh, don't worry. Subin's drunk. His, the friend that shot him, Dongjun, is also already drunk. So they're both already drunk, and now they're
Okay.
going to get drunker.
All right.
Yeah. So Dongjun is, his other friend. So pretty soon, Dongjun is passa on their table, completely oblivious to everything, leaving extremely wasted Subin alone with Hyeonwoo. They bicker like old friends would, but due to liquor, real and honest feelings keep slipping through. Subin's disappointed that Hyeonwoo never contacted him once in the last 2 years. He's also under the impression that the lack of contact was in the hopes that he'd give up his 5-year-long crush. Hyeonwoo more or less ignores him under the pretense that Subin's too drunk to really need an answer. Which is fair, considering his rapid cycling between topics. They should really just go home. So Subin is doing full drunk mode where he's like, why didn't you talk to me? And then being like, wait, barkeep, we need more soju over here. And then cycling from that to being like, grilled octopus is so fucking good. Can we get grilled octopus?
Yeah.
I miss you. Just that sort of thing.
Yeah, so Hyeonwoo, whether he's an asshole or not, is like not responding to his like his serious questions that do need to be answered. But when you're this drunk, there's no point.
Right.
I would probably have, however, answered them drunk and then sober later. Just because sometimes you have to placate the drunk person a little bit. But that's just me.
And of course, drunk actions are just sober thoughts. So maybe this should be answered anyway. So Subin agrees to shut up and go home if Hyeonwoo will do just one thing for him. Sleep with him.
I read it in your script. Like, I looked over your shoulder to look at your script because I was like, how do you say / spell Hyeonwoo? Dog. Subin.
Yeah. The answer is no, obviously.
Thank God. I was like, please don't sleep together. Not like this. Not ever, but not like this.
Subin looks offended and surly before he sways and lays his head on the table. Maybe Hyeonwoo will make him a slave instead, please? But the answer's still no.
Oh boy. We are now treading into, now I'm a little embarrassed. Now this is a little cringy.
Yeah.
But again, it being alcohol time makes it better. You won't believe how many fucking comics I've read where they've had like maybe one drink and they're saying this shit and I'm like, no.
You need to be like 2 bottles in at least. You need to be really riding the lightning.
the fact that he's been drinking quite a lot and is acting this much a fool, I have way more patience for this.
He's drunk already, drank some more afterwards.
Yeah, I have so much more patience for this attitude.
Yeah.
Because it's like, yeah, what else? What did you think would happen? You were so drunk.
Well, Hyeonwoo, realizing that he now has 2 blacked out drunks, calls for reinforcements in the form of Dongjun's roommate. Yet another unreliable young man who's too upset about drunkenly enlisting for the military to be too much help. But still, it's a warm body that will most likely get Dongjun home, so he can focus solely on Subin. I have cringe wording written down as a note here.
I see it. I'm still looking over your shoulder. I know that's for me. Thank you.
Yeah. So, of course, things still don't quite work out. Hyeonwoo ends up carrying a barely conscious Subin out of the bar, but Dongjun still follows them, clumsily stumbling behind them and making things more difficult. Doesn't help that Subin's put on some weight since the last time Hyeonwoo saw him. You know, like a regular young adult would. Dongjun trips over his feet and falls into a bush, which means he'll at least stay still long enough to be found by his roommate. That's at least one win for the evening. Because he's doing the whole, like, wait, where are you guys going? And it's like, girl, just sit down. No, where are you guys going? Your roommate's picking you up. Wait, trips. Falls face first.
Thank goodness he's in a bush where not much can harm him.
Yeah, he can't move. That's good for him.
The ants and the thorns will get him. But that's about it.
As for Subin, Hyeonwoo gets an idea that I can only describe as dumb frat shenanigans. He takes a shopping cart from a nearby convenience store and dumps Subin into it. Because it's easier than carrying him, but his alcohol-addled brain didn't consider how deeply embarrassing it would be to be, like, carting him around. And Subin has the audacity to be passed out and drooling the whole time, so it doesn't look better. He should have just sat down on a bench and, like, called a taxi, done something, but he's like, oh, the shopping cart's gonna work. I'm super smart.
I'm still not embarrassed. I have much more tolerance for drunk.
We're not there yet.
Oh, I was going to say, as someone who's stolen 20 loaves of bread from a Walmart and then woke up on top of those said loaves of bread, I've got no embarrassment.
No. We're in, like, regular collegiate drunk person behavior.
Yeah.
There's something else. Give it a second. That is until Hyeonwoo mentions getting a motel room. Those words snap Subin out of his stupor, and he sits up again, asking Hyeonwoo to sleep with him. Just once. Just one time, and I'll leave him alone afterwards. Big oof.
Yeah, that's the cringe.
Yeah.
I will say, I've seen this a lot, used in Asian tropes, and I get that it's supposed to come off as like a, I'll let you go if we do this one thing. I find this like the most desperate and saddest thing to do.
It very much is a cultural difference, because I feel the same way, because I heard from, like, Japanese couples, if they break up, they'll have sex together one more time and then break up, even if it's an unamicable breakup, even if they hate each other. They're like, well, to cap off the relationship, let's bang one more time.
Yeah. It's definitely, this is the one thing, like, again, I'm not saying shit on anyone's culture, but this is the one thing that I always think about that is like, this is my culture shock, because I'm just like, no, like, if I break up with you and hate you, we're not fucking.
Yeah.
If I don't like you, I'm not fucking you so you can get over it. But, like, I also admire, like, Asian cultures for being a little more carefree about sex.
Yes.
Because here in America, it's a little bit, like, especially in the South, it's a little bit, like, sex is a sin, and if you even think a dirty thought, you're going to hell.
Like, don't be extra slutty about stuff. This is just seen as, like, yeah, it'll probably help you get over it. Once you've done it, it'll be out of your brain.
Yeah, I solely don't like this for the desperate stink that's on it.
It's like, girl, pull up and respect yourself.
Yeah, that's what it is. Like, that's the only reason I don't like it, because for me, it's like, girl, don't be this desperate.
You're better than this.
You're better than this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I find, like, I don't like that. But that's what I don't like about it. But again, I do wish we were more chill about sex here in America. Like,
but also don't do that. Yeah, that's how I feel, too. That's how I felt for this whole scene. Which then continues. Because Hyeonwoo replies that this nonsense has gone on long enough, and he has a girl he likes, in any case. This does nothing to calm Subin, who instead chooses the nuclear option and kisses Hyeonwoo on the mouth.
Okay, Subin, you're no longer drunk and cute. And despite Hyeonwoo probably being, I'm going to say, the antagonist of the story, or at least not, like, the male lead, I'm going to say Hyeonwoo should take that cart and push you down a hill. I'm just going to say you deserve it at this point.
Wait. We don't have to push him down the hill because Hyeonwoo, in response, rears back hard enough to punch Subin out of the shopping cart and onto the ground.
Oh. Ouch.
Yeah.
But, like, no joke, though. It's not cool to kiss someone without their permission.
You're
Consent.
Right. You're right. I'm going to take your little hand. I'm going to kiss it. Because we still have a place to go.
There's still more. All right.
It's obvious now that Subin wasn't actually that drunk and was using copious amounts of soju as a confidence booster and a ruse.
So he's not that drunk?
Cringe is the word for the moment. Yeah. That's what, yeah.
Pause.
Yeah.
We have entered the cringe zone because now that I realize you are sober and doing this, you're an idiot.
This is why I put the note down.
You're an idiot.
Because this is the worst part. This is truthfully the worst part of the entire thing.
One, like, I'm going to have to give this a negative hole. Because while this is stupid young behavior, this is really also inappropriate.
Yeah.
Like, again, he gets the pass because he's under 25. And, like, no joke. I really think that you should be allowed some fuck-ups if you are still continuing into college, and even if you're not. I'm just saying, I feel like 18 is too new to be an adult. Because, like, sure, we can go off and die at 18, but we can't drink. No.
Yeah.
Either the liquor law needs to change or the adult age needs to change.
Right.
And I personally think the adult age needs to change. Because, like, dog, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing renting an apartment at 19. That shit was tough. Learning how to do that. I had parents. I had people to help me. There are people who don't always have that. So it's just like, I think, and like there's dumb things you do as a young person. Holy shit. Like the cringe I did as a young person.
Yeah.
But I do think it actually naturally starts falling off between the age of like 23 and 25 because you're getting real life experience.
This is why I'm telling you this, because it really does center in on, oh yeah, they shouldn't do that. And then you're like, oh, but my dumbass would have done that.
Right.
Or I know multiple people who did this.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So at least he's young and he can be forgiven. But right now, dude, I take a hole off of you. I take like minus a hole for your bad behavior unless you clean up your act.
I'm also going to clarify that Subin believes that he's not drunk at this point, but he is drunk.
Okay.
So it's a weird thing where he's like, well, I wasn't drunk. Because I think
he was drunk.
I might have it written somewhere else in here where he's like, I wasn't drunk. And it's like, you drank all afternoon. You never sobered up. You did drink more. You maybe didn't feel drunk. But it's that thing that you do when you're new to drinking where you're like, I wasn't drunk. I was totally in control. And it's like, no, you were...
He wasn't crazy drunk, but he was a former drunk. Like, look, I can give him that. And again... It's just inappropriate, but like I also don't like using drunk as an excuse to get away with things.
No. You're right on all these points.
Yeah.
All of this tracks. Absolutely.
But like, yeah, just like that's all it is. But like, all I can say is God bless he's under 25. Like, really? If your 30-year-old man does this shit, tase him. Burn him alive.
In the sea.
Yeah. Tie him up, throw a weight on him. Bid that man farewell. He'll never get better.
Yeah. Okay, you want to hold my hand?
Oh, there's more?
A little bit more.
Oh.
The cringe train doesn't stop there, because when Hyeonwoo tries to clarify what exactly Subin wants, like you want to date or something, our main character says that he wants to date Hyeonwoo so badly he could die, while desperately clinging to his leg. Subin is being dramatic and pathetic and belligerent in public, all over his best friend and crush.
I hope he takes your head into a public toilet and pushes it down in the water.
Hyeonwoo punches him again, on the same cheek, while shouting that Subin is a crazy son of a bitch, his face contorted in rage.
Like, this sucks, Subin. This sucks, because, like, I think you have a crush on a homophobe, but even if Hyeonwoo is not a homophobe, and just handling this poorly, he's kind of in the right to be this upset. You're embarrassing him. You are doing this in public. And, like, let's say he's in the closet instead of... Let's just assume he's an in-the-closet man. You are definitely jumping all over his comfort. I hate to say you deserve this, but you deserve this just a little bit.
Oh, yeah, he does.
You gonna keep going?
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna keep going.
No, there's something else. So, he says, crazy son of a bitch, his face is contorted in rage, and then the comic does a jump cut from that face that he's making to another face that he's making later on. Why the fuck does he wake up naked in a motel room in bed with Subin the next morning?
Hyeonwoo does.
Mm-hmm.
Girl.
Mm-hmm.
Please tell me you didn't give in to this weird ask.
Let me actually show you the scene from it.
I'm gonna let you know this comic gets a 0 if they're our ship.
Oh, you'll find out pretty quickly. So this is a good image of Subin. And then this was the man that he was talking to where you just see, like, below his eyes that was like, hey...
He's
I don't
older
play...
looking.
Yes, he is older. He's not super old. They make him out to be super old.
But he doesn't look like a... He doesn't look like a college student.
He's like 28. Yeah, he's like a...
Yeah, he's older then. If this kid is like 23.
Yeah, so like
it's
a decent gap, but not... Yeah. But that's him being like, yeah, ask me about, would I date a straight person? No. And then this is Hyeonwoo.
Ew.
I know, I don't think he looks
He's
like
not
either.
even attractive.
People think he's cute in universe, and I disagree.
Oh, guys. No, he's not attractive at all.
I don't think so either. But this is where Subin's like, sleep with
Gay
me just
young
once.
boys and your bad taste.
I know.
Gay young boys and your bad taste.
And then this is what I'm talking about. Hyeonwoo makes this face of like, I fucking hate you, son of a bitch. Same angle for the panel, same angle of his face, and then he's waking up in the motel room with Subin.
This is really funny. When he's sleepy, he looks a little cuter, but other than that, Subin, he's not even that hot.
Hyeonwoo will get... I think he gets cuter as the manga goes on. I think she gets more... Like, gets the hang of, like, drawing him and stuff. But I'm still just like, there are better people in this.
You're getting hot and heavy for a D when you're hot enough to get an A. That's all I'm going to say.
Listen, okay. Welcome. You're in my crew now. I agree. So Hyeonwoo wakes up in this motel room, and then we jump forward to just dealing back with Subin. We're back at his point of view. Subin awakes alone and also very naked. Except he doesn't have the benefit of knowing where the fuck he is. So like I was saying, he says, oh, I'm not drunk, but he does not remember how he got to the motel.
Hyeonwoo woke up naked with him.
Hyeonwoo woke up naked, and as far as we know,
he booked it.
Fuck, Subin wakes up later, also naked, doesn't remember what happened last night.
Fuck.
Yeah, so he was way drunker than he thought. So he's, again, it's not like, I'm 20, whatever, I know that I'm not drunk, and it's like, no, you're real drunk, actually.
Well, at least he's not a girl, because this could have meant, like, haha, accidental pregnancy.
Right. So as he slowly pulls himself together, he recounts how he was not drunk at all the night before and knew exactly what he was doing. False. This is only half true, of course, because he wasn't sober either, and who says a 23-year-old virgin with zero relationship experience really knows what they're doing?
Dog.
As he locates his pants, he's hit with a handful of very steamy flashbacks from the night before. All of them seem to involve himself and Hyeonwoo making out very, very naked. In the light of the morning sun, Subin touches a hand to his ass, confirming for himself that he finally scored.
I'm embarrassed by you, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I feel bad for both of y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because I just don't think he's going to let it go. Like, that's the other problem I have. I'll let it go. No, they won't.
We're going in a different direction than that.
Good.
Mm-hmm. Again, I'm telling you this with the knowledge that I think this is very interesting and also doesn't do some of the things that you worry about and focuses on other aspects of growing up.
That's fine. As I'm taking it right now, I'm just like, dude.
This is how I felt too, where I was like, girl.
Like, you better let it go. Like, I'm not pleased he got what he wanted, quote unquote. You got it under, like, pressure or a pity fuck.
No. Put a pin in that.
All right.
Put a pin in that.
All right.
Hyeonwoo, meanwhile, has made his way to Practical Music. It is a part recording studio, part practice space, and they regularly offer out lessons for different instruments. So I don't know what you would call this, but they do kind of everything. Like, I know Guitar Center's here. You can buy guitars, then you can also have private lessons in the back. This has, I think they sell instruments. They also, you can rent their equipment. You can record your tracks or whatever, and then you can also get lessons. Whatever. But that's where Hyeonwoo's on his way to. He steps into an office and greets the two people there. One, a man, Jungi, and the other a woman named Yona. They're both glad to see him and welcome him back from service, with Yona encouraging him to make it big so he can stop borrowing their equipment. Jungi offers to take him out to lunch to catch up and go over some more technical things. All in all, a friendly exchange. Things are going so smoothly for him right now.
Oh boy.
Subin eventually gets his shit together and manages to drag himself to his part-time job. See, he teaches guitar lessons. You know,
Oh god.
at Practical Music, the same place Hyeonwoo suited off to. Yona, his boss, is ready to scold him for not answering his phone and missing out on morning lessons until she sees his face. 2 punches to your tender face meat are no joke, so Subin's rocking a massive bruise. Yona, very kindly, cancels his afternoon sessions and encourages him to go home, because there's no way he can conduct lessons looking like that.
Yikes.
So I will say, Yona, I also really like, I mean, I wouldn't say that, but because of the role she plays within the situation with Subin and Hyeonwoo.
Team mom?
No. She's kind of mean, and I'm so glad she's kind of mean.
Good. Honestly, Subin needs someone mean to tell him to stop this nonsense.
Well, she is nice to Subin, she's not nice to Hyeonwoo, and that will become clear as to why in a
He
second.
also needs someone mean, but right now I'm more mad at Subin. But I don't know the story. You do.
Yeah. You are where I was at, where I was like, this ain't it. Because at this point you're like, oh, you're like a fail boy. You need to pull yourself together.
You do.
You know?
You do.
So Subin inquires the whereabouts of Hyeonwoo, which Yona gives him, but asks about his shiner in return. Like, where the fuck did you get this giant bruise on your face? Subin gives a bullshit excuse, but Yona is not stupid. Subin showing up looking like a kicked dog and asking about Hyeonwoo makes it obvious that they had some sort of altercation. She's in the process of asking him for more deets when the man himself appears. Yona accuses Hyeonwoo of hitting Subin, citing that they always fight like cats and dogs, but he brushes it off. It was definitely not that. Lies.
Boy, if she already knows what you like, tell the truth.
Everybody already knows. He doesn't disprove his accusation either, as his attention turns to Subin, and he immediately starts bickering with him over something only vaguely important. Subin is bewildered that Hyeonwoo can be acting so calm and normal in this situation, and is just accepting the play aggression. Like, we obviously touched tips last night. How are you being like your regular self?
Play
Right?
aggression my ass. Play aggression my ass. You and I do it. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, punching someone in the face, I don't want to write that off as a boy thing.
This is the thing, and Yona knows that. Like, they bicker all the time, but she's like, did y'all really get into a stupid fight? Why is it that far?
Yeah.
Because we do get proof later that they do bicker a lot. They bicker a lot with Dongjun as well, but it really is the, like, elbow you hard in the shoulder kind of thing.
Yeah.
And not this. And so she's already aware and is like, what the fuck is this
Yeah,
today?
I just don't like the vibe that, like, your play bickering would also lead to punchies in the face. I don't like that vibe.
Mm-hmm. Finally done fucking around, Hyeonwoo asks why the hell Subin's there to begin with. Since he hasn't contacted his best friend for 2 years, he has no idea that 1, Subin works there as an instructor, and 2, can play guitar at an intermediate level. Something Subin was able to achieve in just 2 years, which is incredibly impressive and deserving of some praise. Because he went from no guitar experience to teaching classes in like 2 years.
Yeah.
Which is insane. You know this.
No, don't judge me.
I'm not judging. I'm
No,
saying,
no. I'm like, don't bring mine into it. Because I am so bad at playing the guitar, and it took me so long to learn that it's actually a crime. I shouldn't have taken that long. No, it's bad. It's real bad, dog.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. It's fine.
No, it's real bad. It's so good. It's so good that I gave up on the guitar. It's so good that I gave up.
Well,
It's really good that I gave up.
Well, Hyunwoo's great at it. But rather than praise him, Hyunwoo ignores accountability for not contacting Subin and instead pulls him close to threaten him. Specifically, that if Subin tells Yona anything weird, he'll do more than just playfully punch him.
Does he have a crush on Hyeonwoo?
And it is in this moment, as Subin processes Hyunwoo's words and looks over at Yona in the distance, that he realizes Hyeonwoo really does have some girl that he likes. And if it's Yona, he really doesn't stand a chance. The knowledge that his crush is truly one-sided comes crashing down on him as his cheek finally begins to throb.
Subin, you're an idiot. Also, Hyeonwoo, you're an idiot. Yona's not going to be interested in him. Like, if she doesn't like him, that's the full-ass vibe.
Uh-huh.
Like, she's giving the full-ass vibe of, I don't like you.
We're gonna look at pictures for a second.
He's ugly.
Even when he looks at this, I think the art's very good.
No, the art's good. Like, no joke, but he is not attractive.
I don't think Hyeonwoo looks good. That's Subin with the bruise on his cheek.
Yeah, boy.
Which looks like a kicked puppy, for sure. This is Yona. I have a handful of pictures of her, because she always looks...
Yeah, I'm so lesbian right now. Wow. She's hot.
She always looks hot. Even when her face is at a weird angle, I'm just like, she's pretty. She looks like the it girl from a K-pop group. Like, she would be the leader, or the one that everybody's like, oh, she's always so fashionable and stylish, and she looks like that all the time.
Hyeonwoo has no fucking chance.
Because there she is, too.
Oh my god, the lesbian queen of my dreams.
She's so pretty.
Yes.
And everybody knows it. And so...
I'm feeling shy. Stop showing me her picture.
Sorry. Also...
She's so pretty.
It's also why, like, Subin doesn't even get mad about him being in love with her. Because he's like, I get it. She's gorge.
Yeah, like, you can't be mad at anyone liking that.
Yeah.
Like, everyone likes that.
Yeah.
Everyone's in love with her.
And
She's the it girl. But, but Hyeonwoo, you look like turd rubbed on the side of the sidewalk. With bits of corn in you.
Oh, God.
And you got the personality to match. This ain't gonna work. This ain't gonna work.
Well, Subin does indeed leave, but instead of going home, he ends up at Dongjun's apartment. Dongjun tries to turn him away since Subin has a knack for showing up right when food's being served.
That's funny. Sorry. Like, guess who's always there when you're about to eat something good and you're like, no,
that's what it is.
We knew someone like that.
Yeah.
You want me to say who and you can bleep their name or cut it out?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Homie did always show up when we were ready to eat.
And it was always the good shit too. But we're not gonna not let someone have it, but it's always like, God damn it.
Yeah. So Dongjun's trying to get him out, but he's outnumbered by Hidong, his roommate, who's entirely chill with sharing their meal. As they eat, Dongjun and Hidong speculate what happened to Subin the night before. He's wearing the same clothes, so did he smash? No. What woman would want him? Maybe he slept on a park bench. That makes more sense. So they're just chatting about it, as Subin's just shoving noodles into his mouth, as his thoughts settle on the vague sexual memories. Boy. What?
Sorry, I'm just... Start over. I'm coming back. I'm still going off. Sorry.
So they're conversing about, like, oh, well, it had to be this, it had to be that. While Subin just keeps shoving noodles into his mouth, as his thoughts settle on the vague sexual memories of the night before. Embarrassed, he quickly pivots to thinking sad thoughts, like, like when your ramen cooks wrong, before getting emotionally sucker punched by the still fresh knowledge of Hyeonwoo's crush on Yona.
Is he gonna go look in a mirror and cry about it?
No.
You know that thing you do when you're sad, and you're like, I'm gonna go look at my sad face, and then it makes you cry harder?
Yeah, no, we're not gonna do that.
I don't mean to be this mean, but I'm a little frustrated with our male lead here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just frustrated with him, because you're like a turd of a man.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I don't know, everything stinks that Hyeonwoo is gonna be a problem, but Subin's also not acting well, so it's just like...
Mm-hmm. But it's a sort of emotional roller coaster that can only be solved with more noodles and not talking about it. Dongjun gets an alert for a missed call, and he commands Subin to check their group chat, since Hyeonwoo keeps trying to contact him specifically. It's incredibly clear to Dongjun that they had some sort of fight, and he's already over it, and is also painfully curious at the same time.
I don't blame him. Like, when friends are fighting, you don't want to know, but you do want to know.
Mm-hmm. And these three have been friends since... like high school, and so they're like a trio with each other and have been a trio since like 16 years old.
And isn't Dongjun gay too?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought you said he was.
No, he's just one of their good buddies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was gonna say, Hyeonwoo, you're outnumbered.
I just know things. I'll tell you in a second.
It's fine.
Subin refuses because there's really nothing to say to him. It's obvious Subin did something heinous, or so says Dongjun.
Bitch.
But is it really heinous to be in love with someone?
Yes, if you're gonna act like you did.
Tears roll up in Subin's eyes as he finally begins to process his heartbreak, right there in his friend's apartment over a steaming pot of ramen. He doesn't feel heartbroken. He feels like all his hopes and dreams have been shattered.
I'm so sorry that this is happening to him, but your behavior was so bad.
Mm-hmm.
God.
Mm-hmm. So what is Hyeonwoo doing through all of this? Being embarrassing in his own way. While Subin wasn't being encouraged to go home, Hyeonwoo was following Yona around like a little puppy.
Gross.
She went to go smoke, so of course he had to follow. You know, because he could use a cigarette also.
Does he smoke?
He does smoke.
Okay.
Once outside in the smoking area, Hyeonwoo just stares at Yona, making it obvious that he wants to talk about something.
Gross. Loser boy.
Yona tells him to just spill it, rather than continuing to look pathetic.
God, I hope you're gay.
Hyeonwoo explains that he'd actually come by the studio the day before to see her, and she was there, looking gorgeous with her hair down, but talking to another guy.
I hope that's your boyfriend or you're a lesbian. Please.
But who was that guy? I have in parentheses barf.
Yeah, because that's the emotion I'm having right now.
Same.
I do not like Hyeonwoo or Subin. In fact, let's talk about the other one. What's his name? Donghan?
Dongjun?
Dongjun? Dongjun, how are you doing?
Long-suffering Dongjun.
What food
We
do
salute
you like?
him. Well, the answer to who was that guy, none of his fucking business. Yona owes him no explanation, and she's planning to bury that man anyway on account of him cheating on her with a younger woman. This
Girl.
comes back later also, because it's not a younger woman, and it's something in a weird context.
Who would cheat on you?
I know. To be fair, he didn't cheat. There's something about this. Okay. We'll get to it later.
We'll get to it, but damn.
Mm-hmm. This is not an opportunity for Hyeonwoo to slip in and become the new guy, but being this age is cringe, and I cannot express that enough. So he's fully like, oh, they're gonna break up then.
But I'll step in.
I've got a chance.
Yeah, this is so young people vibes, like, miss me. I don't miss this stage of my life.
It was terrible.
I don't miss the stage where you make a mixed CD about your crush. God. I did it. I did that sin. I don't even like music. I do like music. I have epilepsy. You know.
Wait. Did you make me a mix CD?
Yeah.
Girl.
I was hella gay for you. We are very married, which is very good that one came to fruition. I thought I'd already told you that. Surprise. The eve before our anniversary. Surprise.
Oh, no. Oh.
I think I made you a couple.
Well, thanks. I thought they were platonic mix CDs.
I mean, that was my gay hope that you wouldn't detect my extreme gay lust in there, but I'm pretty sure they were all love songs.
It's fine. I bought you a expensive art print for Christmas one year, and I had that moment of like, I think this is gay, and then I just shrugged my shoulders and wrapped it up and gave it to you.
Yeah, you bought that art print because my eyes sparkled when I saw it.
Yeah. My mom even looked at me, and she didn't know what to say, but she just looked at me like, is this the right thing? And I was like, yeah, Mom. And she shrugged that feeling off, too. So.
But also, besides it being very sweet that you bought me, I do acknowledge that the painting is a little horrifying in a scary way. It's a little bit of a haunted image. So I also could see your mom being like, why are you giving this girl this cursed image?
She didn't think that. She just thought this is really sweet.
How gay. Shit. Oh, man.
So, back with Dongjun and Heedong, Subin is still crying all over himself and is upset enough to mention a few too many details about what's upsetting him. So he kind of starts almost mentioning Hyeonwoo. So Dongjun drags him out onto the porch so they can talk more without Subin accidentally outing himself.
God.
Because Heedong doesn't know that he's gay.
Okay.
Dongjun is the only one that knows for sure.
Oh, okay.
So it's obvious to Dongjun that after they parted last night, Subin was an annoying asshole, pissed Hyeonwoo off, and made a mess of himself.
Not wrong.
All true. But Subin also lost his virginity last night So,
Christ.
Dongjun doesn't want to hear anymore, for a good reason. But whatever the fuck happened, it's a matter between Subin and Hyeonwoo, and they need to grow up and figure it the fuck out.
Yeah, Dongjun's right. He's right, but also like, god damn.
Mm-hmm. His desire to stay the fuck out of this is increased when Hyeonwoo calls again to ask where Subin is and why he's not answering his phone. Dongjun gives a quick explanation and emphasizes that Subin will be home soon, so there's no way that this trifling ass gay is staying here tonight. It's like, we're full up, I already have a roommate, not you two, go the fuck home. So I do have to mention that through all these little scenes we've had of Hyeonwoo trying to be like, hey, make sure Subin calls me, let him know what's going on, blah, blah, blah. Hyeonwoo was playing around with a tube of ointment during this conversation, and I'm just going to leave that there. That'll come up and be relevant later.
Hyeonwoo's weird.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's mad at him, but he also can't leave him alone.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Mm-hmm. I don't like him.
I want you to keep that in your heart.
Yeah. I just don't like him. It's just not... It's indecisive. Like, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me very sincerely of some college kids I knew. Of, like, one of them was out, one of them was not. And the one who was not out could not act gay in public at all.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, would get aggressive if you tried to, like, be gay towards them. And I was just like, I told my friend, I'm like, don't date someone like that. Like,
mm-hmm.
Honestly, just don't. I understand that we have to be in the closet at times.
Everyone's got a journey.
Everyone's got a journey. But if you're with someone who's going to be aggressive in public about, well, I'm not queer, you can't do that around me, that's not who you want to hang out with.
Yeah.
Like, that's not who you want to date. Be their friend. Try and be supportive for them. Everyone is going through it, but that's not who you want to be with.
Yeah, just hold those thoughts in your heart.
Yeah. My frigid heart.
Mm-hmm. Hyeonwoo makes it back before Subin does, which gives him some time to really take in the state of their home. Because this efficiency apartment belongs to both of them, and they share a full-size bed.
Since when?
Whole time. They got this apartment together as young adults, and they share the bed, and it is literally the whole room is both the kitchen and the bedroom and the living room all together. Like, a true efficiency. They just have a bathroom. It's the only other room that they have.
I understand in college you have to make sacrifices. No joke, back when, like, we weren't dating, we had a pretty small college apartment bedroom because they would not fix my room. Like, my room was, you could not stay in it. So we shared the living room often.
Mm-hmm.
No.
It's not... Because in this case, it's not that they're sharing the bed necessarily before, but it's that this is still where Hyeonwoo lives now, and he's planning to share the bed. You still feel... It feels crusty. Like, something about the situation just feels crusty.
It's real crusty.
Yeah.
Like, it's real crusty. Like, having to share the bed, I get it. Efficiencies. I truly get it. There's nothing weird about that. Being a college student is hard. Sometimes you gotta do stuff.
It is, yeah.
Sometimes you gotta sleep where you gotta sleep. We knew a person who slept in their car for some of college.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, like, given the confession...
Something's crusty.
Yeah. It's time to not do that.
Mm-hmm. So, he notices just how many of his old things are lying around that they can continue to be cared for and used in his absence, including an old book of songs that he wrote from high school. He also finds Subin's phone and notices an unanswered text from someone named K, which bothers him, but it really shouldn't.
It shouldn't. It's none of your business.
Subin finally makes it back, though he'd rather be anywhere else. Hyeonwoo asks him to sit so they can talk, though he first checks on Subin's face and the darkening bruise on it. But he doesn't offer to put the ointment on it, which is weird.
That tells me he didn't get the ointment for him. That cute girl gave him the ointment and said, put this on his face, and he said no.
You're wrong.
Okay. That's my guess.
Reasonable guess. Still not the right answer. Hyeonwoo tries to get to the bottom of why they've been fighting this time. Is it the punch? Is it Yona? No, idiot. It's obviously Hyeonwoo himself. It's one thing to admit to having a crush on the hottest and coolest woman they know, but it's completely out of line to do that after having sex with Subin. Except they didn't as far as Hyeonwoo knows.
Fuck.
He gets asked, like, to swear on his balls that they didn't
That's
do
funny.
that.
That's funny.
And he's like, yeah, we didn't have sex, but we did kiss. However, it was in the shopping cart and not, later at the hotel or whatever. And then Subin was just a regular terrible drunk for the rest of the night. Obviously, Subin just had some wild-ass wet dream and needs to grow up and mature a little more.
So, did they not have sex? Am I gonna know that?
I will tell you, yes.
Okay.
Hyeonwoo leaves to spend the night at a sauna, for some reason feeling too uncomfortable to stay the night in his own place, leaving Subin to his own swirling thoughts.
Yeah, it's the single bed. That's why you're uncomfortable.
On the one hand, Subin knows he's been pushed too hard. He was desperate. But on the other hand, he's embarrassed that he becomes so obsessed that he conjured up a happy ending for himself.
Damn.
But what to do about a new wave of terrific embarrassment? Alcohol, BB, and drunk dialing your only friends.
You're embarrassing. Quit drinking. Quit drinking.
Korea's really got to work on not drinking so much.
I mean, yeah, I know it's in their culture. Holy shit, though.
The next day, they're both back at work, with Hyeonwoo working on his demos and Subin back to teaching. Yona is assisting with the demo work, listening and giving her feedback, that sort of thing. Hyeonwoo's in need of a guitarist to record some of the accompaniment, so she suggests Subin, since he's gotten so good. Hyeonwoo isn't keen on the idea, but also doesn't believe Subin's good enough. But Yona pushes for him anyway. She brings Subin to the booth and gives a quick rundown of what they need from him. Subin himself is nervous and doesn't think he's quite good enough, but he's willing to try. But for someone who spent the last few years playing the amateur compositions of his bestie, he's more than capable of understanding the intricacies of his new work. So he even says, like, oh wow, the opening to this song is like all of his openings. He does the same thing every time. And Yona's the one that's like, oh, he's really good. We should use him. I think he'll be fine. But Yeonwoo's like being, honestly, a brat. Like, I get that they have some uncomfortable stuff between them at this point, but he is being a brat and is like, oh, what can he do? And it's like, you haven't spoken to him normally since you got back. You probably should ask him what's going on in his life a little bit.
No joke, I honestly think their friendship ended 2 years ago. In my world, if someone had talked to me for 2 years, and there was something bad that happened before those 2 years started, we're not friends anymore. And I'm not saying it's not possible. We recently hooked up back with a friend who we lost track of for a few years, but we lost track of them. COVID hit, work happened, everyone was getting moved around. So when we found time to talk with this person again, friendship's back on.
Yep.
We didn't cut ties because we meant to. But, Hyeonwoo called this boy disgusting and then didn't reach out to him for 2 years.
And so we're clear, he reached out to Dongjun. But
only Dongjun. Does Dongjun know that?
Yeah, this is why he's so frustrated all the time. Because he's like, they're both my friends, and I want them to figure their shit out, because we can move back from this, but I need them to both to, mature up, and either have a discussion about this, or cut off their friendship, or something. We're in this weird limbo, because they both will ask him about, hey, how's the other person doing? And he's like, I love you guys, but I need you to figure this the fuck out.
Yeah, no, what is it,
Dongjun.
Dongjun, cut this out. Tell them, no, I'm not your messenger anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate to say this, I don't give two shits about Subin or Hyeonwoo. I only care about Dongjun and then Yona. Yona, I want to sleep with, sorry. And Dongjun, boy, you need a vacation. You need a vacation. You need to cut these two miserable men out of their lives. This baby's not cute. It's not good for anyone. God.
But yeah, so Subin does all the stuff about Hyeonwoo's music and has gotten really good and whatever. And so again, rather than be impressed, Hyeonwoo feels awkward and aggravated.
So Subin can do what he wants, and instead of being happy about it, he's just mean mugging.
Yeah. Being a brat. After work, Hyeonwoo sees Yona off to her car and implores her to text him when she gets home.
Get bent.
Double barf.
Yeah.
To her credit, she says, I'll think about it, and then gets off. Because she's like, why are you doing this? I don't need you to do this. And he's like, well, I'm the reason that you had to stay late tonight. And she's like, girl, and...
I hope she tells you to get bent. Is she older than him? She seems...
She is, yeah.
You do not have a chance with this older, hot woman.
I believe she's in her mid to late 20s as well. She's not 30 yet, but she's in her mid to late 20s.
You do not have a chance with her. You are a boy.
Mm-hmm.
You are acting like a boy, and you are a boy.
Mm-hmm. Well, that leaves Subin and Hyeonwoo alone. Subin teases him about Yona a bit, but his friend isn't having it. Isn't Subin too embarrassed to face him right now? Well, Subin just wants Hyeonwoo to come home. He's given up now, so it's not like anything else will happen. He'll be good. He just really doesn't want to eat alone again. He's been eating alone pretty much for 2 years, which is how he was, at Dongjun's place and stuff, because he wants to eat with somebody.
Subin, you're gonna get used and used forever.
He is essentially pleading not to be abandoned.
Yeah, which you were. This guy's a prick. Don't take him back.
Hyeonwoo asked
friend.
Hyeonwoo asked the most important question. Can things go back to normal? Can they just return to be the kind of friends they were before? Subin says, of course, even though what's being asked is literally impossible.
It is impossible. Subin honestly didn't ruin it. What ruined it was Hyeonwoo's silence. You know what would have fixed this? A text from Hyeonwoo saying, I'm not gay. I don't feel that way. Sorry I called you disgusting. Let's spend some time while I think about this.
2 years is a great time to cool shit off.
Yeah.
With
and
communication.
then try it again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So how can two friends with 5+ years worth of baggage between them navigate the stickiness of young adulthood, romantic entanglements, and stupidity? Poorly. And we haven't even really gotten to the male lead yet.
Thank God that there's someone else. No joke. It can't be this idiot.
Yeah, this is... Ugh. I've never seen collectively so many people be stoked that there is a male lead and it's not Hyeonwoo.
Yeah.
Because everyone, the reaction you're having is the reaction that I had where I was like, Subin, you gotta pull up. Everyone's like, oh, I think Subin kind of sucks for a really long time. Mm-hmm. But you were seeing somebody really at their worst. He's about to basically hit his rock bottom.
I can tell that, but also I'm stuck on being alone in that apartment for 2 years.
Yes.
I'm stuck on that.
Same.
You were abandoned there. Yeah, you're a little crazy. I'm judging him, but at the same time, I'm like, boy, you were left alone in the woods.
Yes. So you think he's cringy. You think he's making bad choices, and then you're like, oh, you guys bought that apartment together, and you're just on the hook for it monetarily while he's out. And then you basically got abandoned.
Yeah.
And we find out later that Hyeonwoo had actually hung out with other people during his rest periods, but he didn't come home. Because normally you're given leave for the military multiple times during your enlistment period, and you can actually win time off as well. Yeah. So most people go home, see their girlfriends, go have a good meal.
Hyeonwoo he knew what he did. He ended that relationship. While he's here playing pretend now, I don't know. He should have just said, I don't know. It's over. There's no real relationship between them. Hyeonwoo lit that shit on fire.
Yeah.
And poor Subin, he's not acting right now, but his actions are exactly because of how Hyeonwoo handled this.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying he still wouldn't have handled it messily before if he got a clear rejection. Mm-hmm. But
he could have put the shit to bed 2 years ago.
The shit would have been asleep.
Yeah.
Cold asleep.
Yeah.
So this is just dumb. I'm so glad Hyeonwoo's not the thing.
Yeah.
But I will say, I'm probably gonna have to give this 2 ratings because I often get left out of finding out what happens in the end. Mm-hmm. If I find out what happened in the end, it's way after we've stopped recording. Mm-hmm. So in my head, if this goes one way, this is a good comic. Mm-hmm. If it goes another way,
I know what you're talking about, and I, again, also felt the same. The emotions you're feeling, I'm right there with you. This all makes sense.
Yeah.
This is why...
I'm sure everyone's feeling that way.
This is why when I started this, I was like, oh, God, where are we going? Then I was like, oh, I've never hated as hard as I have in a long time.
Hate mate, yeah.
Yeah, you get it? Yeah, you're there. You got it. Okay, but let's get into the characters. I'll give you some more details about them, and that's going to kind of help us tighten this up a little bit. So, of course, we have Bang Subin. He is 23 and a boy failure through and through.
Yeah.
He's temperamental and whiny and bratty and immature and very much acting his age. Most importantly, he is a slave to his unrequited crush on Hyeonwoo. He's also on an extended break from college for various reasons, mostly just being all over the place, but also probably because of his weird crush. A lot of the things that he does seem to be tied to the fact that he got no closure and needed a clear answer.
He needed closure. For
all of his messiness, he's not incapable of taking care of himself. He's a good cook, has a good memory, especially when remembering others' preferences, and is a really fast learner. He can also be really charming when he wants to be. But his self-esteem, his maturity, and his capabilities all seem to be stunted by his crush. He is in love with Hyeonwoo, obviously, but he has the capacity to move beyond that and really figure out what kind of adult he wants to become. Which he does do. He does figure his shit out. It takes him a while.
He would either have to figure this out or he'd have to fail, and that's the only options. Because if we continue to stagnate, what a terrible comic.
Yeah, he has to figure it out in some really rough chunks, but he does figure it out.
Yeah.
But it makes sense.
Makes sense. And that's what normally happens is, people figure it out really rough.
Yeah. Then we have Nam Hyeonwoo, who's also 23, and a boy failure in his own right, though it is unequivocally his own fault. He's good-looking and talented. I know you don't agree. I know you don't think he's good-looking.
He's so ugly.
I know. But within the universe, he's considered good-looking, and he's talented, but he's not so good at maintaining relationships, cooking, taking care of himself, or self-reflection.
Question. Did he even contact Yona while he was away? He's like, I'm in love with Yona. It sounds like he invented it.
I think it infers that he either tried to or tried to come see her on his leaves. But I don't think she was there consistently because she's busy.
Also dated probably.
Whatever she is, she's part music producer, part teacher, she sings part-time as well. She's very much in the music industry and is very busy, so doesn't have time for a little boy. But he's the sort of guy a similarly aged woman would try to fix and fail miserably at. He also has a massive crush, but on Yona, and it is so cringy for so long that it makes you mad at him. He's besties with Subin.
No, he's not.
And he really does care about him.
No, he doesn't.
But...
You can't tell me anything that makes you believe you.
But he's the sort of person you'd consider pushing into the sea.
Strike that. You'd push him into the sea. End of sentence.
Yeah. It's one of those situations where, what I will say, season 1, when that ended, and that was all that it was, they had season 1 and they did 7 special episodes. When I read that originally, I was like, fuck him. And then you learned more about Hyeonwoo in season 2. And then I'm like, oh, I get it. You really are Subin's best friend, but you fucked up so bad. This is your fault. And so, you have that moment of oh, you messed this up really badly. And I would have felt bad for you, but you continued to make bad fucking choices.
There's nothing in this world that's going to make me like him. You know why? You know why? Because I'm not going to read season 2 if it glows him up.
No, it doesn't.
Fuck it. I'll end it at season 1.
No, it doesn't glow him up, but it gives you some more details about them, and then you're just like, oh, you're stupider. Because you think it's going to make you feel for him more, and I'm just like, no.
You're dumber.
You're an idiot. Yeah. So that's I got
no patience for this type of awful behavior. Subin is awful too, but he actually feels like he just needs to get over this.
He feels like regular dumb kid awful.
Yeah.
As opposed to can you use your brain?
Yeah.
Because he's not stupid, but he's just in his feels.
Hyeonwoo feels like he needs to he's gonna push it. He is going to use all that grace period. When he gets 25, he might finally be normal.
Girl, yes. Yes.
And you know who's perfect? Dongjun. Love him. He's the perfect one out of this. He should dump both these losers. Terrible friends.
Then we have our mystery man, Kangjun. We saw him. This is the person that Subin went on a date with, and we only saw the bottom of his face. But he is an office worker in his late 20s with a mild masochistic streak that he expresses by dating Subin.
All right.
He's serious, and he likes doing things that have a clear and consistent outcome. He also has a penchant for putting his foot in his mouth, but his inability to properly filter also allows nice, sappy things to slip out sometimes. He's seen as a big adult, but he's harboring plenty of immaturity also. He's reliable too, but in a way that suggests that he has a large capacity for kindness, more than him just having his shit together. He is smitten with Subin's face from their first meeting, and that doesn't ever change.
That's actually sweet. Like, he sounds sweet, though I am judging him a little bit. You are past my age limit for grace, so you better not be too immature.
His immaturity is interesting, and I do talk about it in a second, but it's interesting. But, like, so that's why, like, his isn't terrible in that, like, he's not being crazy like the 23-year-olds are, but he has a little bit of immaturity, and I think it's important. But we'll get to it.
Christ.
Yona is also in her late 20s and is a fixture in the music industry. I am honestly unsure of her job, but she's skilled at singing, management, mixing, guitar, and probably a host of other things. She's just, got her shit together. She'd be a manic pixie dream girl if it weren't for her meanness. She regrets being heterosexual since all the men she seems to be involved with are either children or dogs, but she's making the best of it. She has a soft spot for Subin, but would probably yeet Hyeonwoo out of a window if it wasn't illegal and if he wasn't so talented.
Bless your heart.
She's just cool and hot, really.
Just kill him. Kill him for the universe.
Dongjun is 23 and Subin and Hyunwoo's long-suffering friend from high school. He's always rude to his buddies, but for good fucking reason.
For good fucking reason. Dongjun can do no wrong.
He's the only one out of his friend group that seems to have any common sense and regularly gives the other boys actionable advice that they usually ignore.
Dongjun was me in college. That's why I've imprinted on him.
He's also loyal despite all of his complaining. He's trained to be a hairstylist, and he's quite good. And Dongjun, I'm so proud of him. I will spoil this. Dongjun does end up becoming, like, a really good hairstylist and, like, starts working on runways and stuff. And I was so excited for him, because, like, he's not the main focus of this, but I was like, thank God things are going well for you.
Yeah, it's nice that he gets a cool little glow up.
Yeah, I just like seeing him, because he is really a solid friend, and he does some things at the end that I was like, oh, you have integrity. Out of everybody in this, I think he has really good integrity. So I like him a lot.
Am I going to have to wait for the podcast to end for you to tell me about it?
I'll just tell you right now. Dongjun.
I like Dongjun.
Yeah. And then we have Ji-hoon, which we haven't really been technically introduced to him yet. You're introduced to him by some things that Yona says, and that's it. He is the same age as Yona and is her on-again, off-again boyfriend for a time. He's also in the music industry and is experienced enough to have garnered a lot of favors and connections. He is a bit of a disaster bisexual, but he generally means well. Like, he's not like an especially shitty person. He's just a little all over the place too. He's also smitten with Yona, but they grew up together, so he's got more of an excuse. He spends the back half of the comic annoying the hell out of Hyeonwoo, and honestly, God bless. Because he's dramatic as fuck, but he's better than Hyeonwoo.
Thank God, yeah.
Because he also has like, when he and Yona fully break up, he's, like, really upset about it for a really long time. But to be fair, he really didn't cheat.
Yeah.
It was just, he's bi, he, like, slept over at a dude's house, but I think that dude liked him. And so he made a bad decision, but it wasn't cheating.
Yeah. It just, like, but, like, as a bi person, there are sometimes roles that your partner will put on you. Like, hey, one that is very common, I've heard it before, and others have heard it before, is if that person likes you or has said they liked you or is getting over the fact that they like you, you can't sleep over with them.
Yeah.
Like,
I think that's even fair if you're not a bisexual person.
I agree.
Like, maybe don't do that. Not just for you to, like, keep your nose clean, but for them, don't put them in that situation.
Yes. And, like, I don't feel like it's a rule that should have to be said, but I feel like it gets brought up because there are definitely people who try to pull, like, well, since you're bi, you can't have sleepovers with your friends. And it's like, fuck you. I can.
Nah, I trust your ass. I know where you're going.
Right, but, like, but, you know, the point is a lot of, like, bis will hear, well, you can't hang out with him and you can't hang out with her. And it's like, who can I be friends with? Well, you can be friends with no one because you're into everyone. And it's like, that's not what bisexuality is, my dude.
I know who you need to be careful around. And they don't live here.
He is not interested.
No, I was going to say he doesn't live here, and he's famous.
Oh. And honestly, if I touched him, he might die, because he's very old.
Oh, not even... Pretty much everyone I'm thinking about. I don't think Sean Astin will let Sean Astin's wife will let you just, like, dick him down either.
Please, I'll take both of them. They're both really attractive.
I know, but this is why I'm not worried, because the people that you want to smash are very far away from us.
I want to smash both of them. They're so gorgeous.
And to be fair, I would let you.
They could not hire me as a nanny. Like, I would be that nanny who slept with both of them,
You're just laying out when either one of them comes home and you're like, hey, the kids are asleep.
But also, like, I also couldn't be the person who broke them up. I think they're cute. So, like...
I get it.
But, no. But, Sean Astin. You're so cute. Your wife is also gorgeous. Holy shit.
Okay. Let's keep going.
You've elevated my mood, though, by bringing him up.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
So, marking this as a coming-of-age story is an understatement. Not a single character is done growing up, and the ones who seem to be are still inexperienced in certain aspects of their lives. Like, I kicked this off referencing What's My Age Again, but it is so appropriate for this comic. The characters are likable, but many of them need to get their asses kicked.
And at least they're young.
Yeah. They're young, they need to get ass kicked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No wonder all the 28-year-olds are tired of them, though.
Uh-huh. Subin and Hyeonwoo are the obvious poster children for ass kicking, though in opposite directions. Because Subin needs a kick to encourage him to make a positive change in his life and get over his crush. He needs encouragement to refocus on himself and his wants and how to achieve them. You want to kick him because it's frustrating how much he's holding himself back and is unaware of what he's worth. But after you mess him up, you want to hold him and tend to his bruises. Dong-jun is very much a person who treats Subin that way, and I agree with him 100%.
Dong-jun's the hero of this.
Mm-hmm. Like, you don't want to coddle Subin, but you're rooting for him to make progress. And Dong-jun really does do that. He always gives Subin, like, hard-to-hear advice, but good advice, and is also the person being like, hey, you need to let this go. Hey, this isn't good for you. So in between him being like, you fucking idiot, I hate you, he's like, no, but seriously, dude? This is good for you. You need to do this.
This is why you were super popular in college. You were that friend for everyone. And I also tried to be that friend for people. But I also needed that friend for me. I also needed someone to tell me to put up. Because you had it down. Me, no. But seriously, you very much were that person for people. You told them the things they needed to hear and to act right when they needed to act right. I definitely tried, but... I was a little, I think, weaker about it. Which, like, it's not the end of the world. I was learning how to come into my own voice then, too. Mm-hmm. But, like, definitely I was modeling after you in that sense. Because, like, you are, like, my senpai, you're older than me, you're always above me in school. You know, all that stuff.
Oh, my brain is having an issue. Because I was like, oh, this is very sweet that she's telling me this. And then you said above me, and I was like, you want me to be above you right now?
Hey, my anniversary is next weekend.
Yeah, by the time that this airs, it's actually this weekend.
Ooh, girl. It's this weekend. You gotta take me out. Or take me to bed. My mom listens to this sometimes. Sorry, Mom.
She's fine. Hyeonwoo is different in that you just want to kick his ass. He desperately needs an ass kicking, and no one's ever done it before. And he's not going to grow unless he's given an ass kicking. Sometimes you have to face a big hardship to kickstart your growth journey, and Hyeonwoo is in need of some suffering. He absolutely has the potential to be a better person, a better friend, a better partner, a better human being in general, but he spent so much time stunting himself that he can't quite figure it out. His philosophy of keeping everyone at the edges of his life and refusing to put effort into anything but his music is not a wise way to lead his life, but he doesn't find that out for a long goddamn time.
Yeesh.
Yeah. So it is legitimately doing that thing where you'll get a stupid philosophy in high school or early college and be like, this is how I need to live my life. This is how I'm going to be okay. And then the people who stick with it end up really fucking up their lives.
I do actually know people who've done this.
Exactly.
And it's kind of sad because it is a lot of dudes.
Yeah. Well, and like, that's a whole other thing that I can comment on, especially in the West.
Yeah. But like, his is kind of unfortunate because he's got that unfortunate mix of also being talented. Mm-hmm. How many really talented people did we know that were like, you're super talented, but you gotta get your shit together.
And you gotta start like connecting with people, and you gotta start being normal about stuff. And that is his issue. I get really being into something, But he specifically says, oh, why should I put in effort for anything else? And it's like, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
But everything requires effort, my guy.
Yeah. He's giving.
Oh, yeah. Somebody else I want to punch into the sun.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. What I will give Hyeonwoo is that he's not pretentious. What I'll give him is that he's not pretentious. And the person we just mentioned was pretentious and had this attitude.
Yes. They're like, and like it sucks because when someone is talented, sometimes you think, man, they deserve that pretentious, that ego.
No.
And the answer is no.
No.
But like we were young
Yeah.
and we let it slide because we're like, you're super talented. And they
you
were.
do have some good ideas, but then
you're not working for anything.
You're punching yourself in the throat constantly and you don't realize it.
I remember like in my baby years of college is like, they are so cool. But then like around my later years in college when they started to get messier and stay messier and I'm like, dude, you're a senior. What are you doing?
Like, get your shit together, dog. Like everybody else did. And we went to art school. I knew some fuck ups.
Yeah.
And they graduated, okay? They got their shit together. They graduated. They got to an interesting point. But it was always the people who were like this that either had difficulty or they got a job or got some, like, you know, a gallery showing or something, and they shit the bed about it.
Yeah.
But Subin and Hyeonwoo's journeys are exceptional examples of how young adults navigate life. I definitely knew people like each of them. We were just talking about people that we knew. And I was no slouch when it came to dumb life philosophies either. These two just feel upsettingly real. Like you kind of want to strangle them and you also want them to do better. And then Jun is interesting in that he believes he's done growing. Like he's 28 maybe and has been a working man for a few years. And he sometimes thinks he is the biggest adult that has ever adulted. But he's also never had a long-term boyfriend and is too afraid to come out to his mom. So he's fallen prey to a very familiar scenario that we've both seen plenty, where he's technically an extremely mature adult, but is very inexperienced in certain social aspects and with knowing and accepting himself. This happens to queer adults a lot. Like when you can't live your teen years without hiding part of yourself, then you kind of miss some of the growth that you'll normally experience. And you don't just get to skip it. You gotta eventually figure that shit out. So your 20s and 30s are ripe for growth. Mm-hmm. He's got that stunted, like, queer maturity thing where you just don't get to do some of your stupid shit until you're older.
Yeah, like, again, no people like that. And I don't think I was. I might have been like that because I came out late, too.
Yeah, I think we both had a little bit, but we came out, like, and figured our stuff out in our late teens, early 20s, so I think ours started a little bit sooner.
Yeah.
But also, like, we didn't get a bunch of attitude. No one was sitting around calling me gay derogatory. Well, wait. Sorry. Somebody was calling me gay derogatory in high school, and everyone was like, how could you say that to them like that? What? Don't be a jerk. And everyone got mad at them. And then I was like, well, I think I'm pansexual, so it's not a big deal. But everyone's like, you shouldn't say it that way. And so it wasn't a big deal.
Yeah,
so
you were the darling of your grade.
No, not to that point, but we both had this situation where it wasn't like, you know, we hate gays with our whole chest kind of thing.
You were so sincerely nice. A lot of people liked you. You had to be an absolute turd wagon to not get along with you.
Yeah, so it was that sort of thing. So we didn't have it bad, but we know plenty of people that they didn't come out until during college or after college, and I love them. They're our dear friends, but some of them did some wild fucking shit, especially like between 25 and 30, and I was like, I need you to pull up, but you know what? You didn't get to do this when you're 17. It's fine. Go off, King.
Yeah, dog, I know a girl who like in her early 20s, that was when she came out, and it was like fresher. Like we were literally 20 when she came out. And I remember being like, girl, she's just like me. She also waited to come out. Granted, I hadn't come out yet. But I was like, yeah, someone else waited to come out. And then she got a little messy. And I was like, maybe I'll wait some more. Like she was not the reason why I waited longer, but she added to it.
Yeah. You just go through this mess.
Yeah.
And then watching Jun make some honest mistakes, sometimes because of his maturity, is so real to me. Because me too. Sometimes you are trying to be so mature that you end up like stepping on yourself and then you fuck the situation up. But I do like that we're given that perspective to contrast all the bad decisions the younger characters make. And I really like the way that sexuality and relationships are handled in Hate Mate as well. It's of course got two partners growing together as a couple with Subin and Jun, but we also get to see how characters change on their own once they're faced with the gay. Obviously, Hyeonwoo doesn't handle it well, but it's not due to homophobia, but rather, again, his own inability to reconcile with homoerotic feelings. Just Subin existing as a gay man threatens his view of himself. Which is a little hint to why.
So is he gay? Or like a little gay? Like
he's a little gay, maybe. But we never get a full answer from him because he, again, doesn't spend enough. He doesn't spend enough. Yeah, he won't touch it. And when he does kind of finally start touching it, it's embarrassing. And I'm like, girl, you should have done this a while ago. I will also take now to say that ointment was for ass. It's an ass ointment.
Did he fuck him?
No, but they tried and didn't succeed.
Oh my god. So you knew.
So also why Hyeonwoo needs to go in the sea, because he just wouldn't touch it. And then he immediately goes back to, no, I like Yona, and so I'm not going to talk about it. It's like, right, but you were both drunk. True. But you sobered up enough to take him to a motel, and then you did try something. You were an active participant, and then you stopped when it got wonky, which is the right thing to do. Like, it hurt, and you're like, we can't do this. But then you gaslight him.
That's fucked up, dude.
And so I'm like, girl,
yeah,
Subin was out of pocket.
But you were way worse.
You turned that fucking thing up. You turned the stove all the way up for no reason.
And you left the house and the towel near the burners.
Exactly. Yeah.
God, dude. Oh, that's bad. Okay.
And then Yona, as cool as she is, also struggles in the face of Ji-hoon's bisexuality. She understands it, she accepts it, but it's more surface level than she'd like it to be. And that's a result of her own insecurities, not biphobia. Because she's the one that's like, well, he obviously cheated on him. It's like, well, he didn't cheat on you.
But
you got uncomfortable about it. You should have talked to him about it. And she actually seems like she is not pleased that she acted that way, too. She feels like, oof, that was shitty of me. But also,
she's probably a foil to Hyeonwoo, where she's actually handling her shit while he's not.
Yeah, like, she's trying to handle it. She's still not perfect. They are both, like, perpetually single, perpetually dating, but in a different way, because she obviously is like closing her relationships, trying to figure herself out. She's okay not dying with somebody, you know, being like in a relationship and stuff like that. She also says that she hates being heterosexual, which I'm like, girl, I get it.
Girl, you should. You got the face that deserves to be bi.
She wishes she could be with women. She's like so
God
over it.
Damn.
Everyone's having their own problems. And it's nice that the queer folks aren't facing an onslaught of discrimination or anything. Their biggest issue seemed to be figuring out how to navigate a relationship in a way that feels right to them. Because since there's no rules anymore, no expectations of marriage, children, stay-at-home spouses, etc., what exactly are they supposed to do? Like, what's their blueprint for living a life together? And damn if that isn't a nice source of conflict that doesn't make me sad for existential reasons. So no, I hate you because you're gay, just, how the fuck do we do this? We can do whatever we want. Oh, that's too much choice.
So, Hyeonwoo's... I don't care that Hyeonwoo's struggling, because he's struggling with it so bad, it's still coming off as really bad homophobic. Yeah. So, even if he managed to clear the air with this misunderstanding, he still went too hard, and that's unfortunate.
It's interesting because I read stories like this all the time, where it's interpersonal relationship drama, and normally I'm like, oh yeah, they just have drama because of interpersonal stuff. But this is one of the few times I'm like, oh no, he's the villain.
Yeah.
There's a villain here, and it's him.
Yeah.
Of course, I have to give it up to the art for this one, because it is so fucking good, and is one of the main things I remembered about this. It is awkward and a little raw, but Reck doesn't seem too concerned about whether her characters look ugly in certain scenes, and it really adds the overall feel of the comic. Being 23 is kind of ugly, so why not have the art match? But it's also incredibly clear that they put a lot of love into each page, because the backgrounds are quite detailed, the characters' clothing constantly changes to reflect their individual identities, and the colors are graded to each scene to properly reflect the mood. I also love that they leave small areas unfinished or with the digital marker strokes showing through. It adds a nice texture, and again, adds to the messiness of the character situations. The art also changes in Season 2, but they still kept some of their hallmarks of style from Season 1. All in all, this is a comic that manages to capture the intricacies and nuances of becoming an adult. and has all the difficult and painful and downright gross moments that make up young adulthood. And despite how uncomfortable it is to watch these guys, all of them, fuck up and fail, it's also familiar and weirdly charming. No matter what side of the age bracket you're on, it's encouraging to see characters who are 1 second from disaster pull themselves together. Because it's not too late to fix your shit at 23. It's never too late to fix your shit.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you want a comic that is as cringy as it is wholesome, Hate Mate is for you. You can find Hate Mate on Tapas. It contains mild violence, mild homophobia, cringe, manipulative behavior, boundary pushing, unrequited everything, and shenaniganery.
Shenaniganery.
Yeah.
Alright. I'm going to give it 2 ratings.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, you have alluded that it's going to go well.
Mm-hmm.
But as it stands now, I really didn't even get to meet the male lead.
I know. It's
So, as it stands now, honestly, 2 out of 10. I don't like the main character.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like who he has a crush on.
Mm-hmm.
And the best people in the comic are side characters who we probably don't see as often. So, where it stands now, 2 out of 10. I probably would have, like, hate read this story.
Yeah.
As is, and been pissed, threw it against a wall, and bitched about it, and then tried to fix it. Because that's what I do when I really don't like something.
Mm-hmm.
But you have told me, and hinted, that it does have a better ending, that he does not get with this shitty boy, and things get better. So, on the hope that it gets better, I would give it a 10 out of 10. This is exactly what I'm looking for. This is the kind of mess I want to see. I really like the interpersonal struggles.
Mm-hmm.
I like the realistic struggle that also doesn't go full-time into a possible hate crime.
Yeah, it doesn't go insane.
Yes, because, like, hate crimes happen. But, like, I don't always want to read about that.
Absolutely.
I would like it just to be a really ugly fight where you say something atrocious to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that sucks, too. Let's do a comic about that. So, in the hopes that it's good, 10 out of 10. But if it really is just this spirally shitty thing, 2 out of 10. Because Subin's too messy. Mm-hmm. He's messing with the perfect Dongjun. Get rid of him. Get rid of him. Dongjun, 12 out of 10. He's a good boy.
Mm-hmm.
Yona, 13 out of 10. Holy shit. Damn. But, yeah. So, just, like, 2 ratings.
What you've guessed so around so many of the things that end up kind of happening in this too. What you were saying that you hope this would be, that is where it's going.
Yeah, you hinted at me strongly enough for me to be like, okay, I'm sure it's going that way. But at the same time, I didn't even meet the male lead.
This is also me encouraging you that if you do start reading this, if you need to take breaks reading the beginning where it's kind of messy, that's fine. Stick with it. You are going to like where it's going. And even though season 2 adds in some tension, and you may think it's going to go in the way that you didn't want it to, just know it ends exactly what you're hoping for.
Mm-hmm.
And I would honestly say even better, I got a little verklempt at the end of season 2 because it ended up being way more touching and like inspiring than I thought it was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely stick with it. I understand your ratings. I don't disagree with you. I totally get it.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. If you guys would like more from Reck, you can find her on Twitter at Timdus. It's TMDDUS_1894. Or you can read Digitalis on Lazen. That one is only drawn by her, but she has a few more works that will hopefully be serialized in English that she did the writing and drawing for. Mm-hmm. We're not at that point yet. I think she is an unsung hero of boy love, and I need more from her immediately. If you want more from Yeonha, the writer for season 2, you can find them on Twitter at Yeongha, which is YOUNGHA_writer, or check out Love or Hate on Lazen or Fool's Original on Tappytune. And finally, if we've tickled your fancy and you want to be tickled more, you can find us on Bluesky and Tumblr at whole-chat. For deeper inquiries, send us an email at whole.chat.69@gmail.com. And don't be afraid to leave a comment, like, subscribe, share, or tell your mom about us. I told my mother-in-law.
She likes us.
Mm-hmm. The more people who listen, the happier we are, so we'd appreciate it. But thanks so much for listening, and tighten up.
Tighten up.